Alright, hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Linnea, and today's reading, I want it to be all about what is it time for you to take action on. Now, this can be something that you stopped doing. Maybe it's something that you've never done before, but you've been thinking about, or maybe it's something that, you haven't even thought of, but Spirit wants to bring it to your attention. Something that it's time for you to start. That's what I want this reading to be about. If you are subscribed to me, you'll probably notice I haven't posted in months. I actually don't even know how long it's been since the last time I posted. But, I always preach on this channel that it's important for you to follow your heart. And I think when I first started this channel, I felt this fire inside me to pursue it and push through. And I did it for like 2 years straight. And I never really saw the channel blow up in the way that I wanted it to. And over time, instead of it being a creative outlet and something I felt passionate and drive for, I felt like I was scraping the bottom of an empty bucket, just trying to come up with new ideas and force myself to do it. And I realized it wasn't authentically me. And so I took a very much needed break, focused on my career, focused on my personal life, and I've started to feel the call to come back. So I can't promise consistency right now, but I can say that the version of me that you're getting right now is authentically me, authentically wanting to be here, and that's why I felt drawn to do this. What is it time for you to start? For me, it's like, what is it time for me to start again? I feel like it's time for me to get back into my spirituality, get back into reading tarot, and so I'm really excited to be with you here today. I hope that this reading finds you when you need it the most. But let's go ahead and get into it. So, for pile 1, we have the clear quartz and the 3 of cups. For pile 2, I think this is yellow calcite, and then this is the Knight of Swords reversed. And for pile 3, we have the green aragonite and the 10 of swords. So go ahead and pause. There'll be timestamps down the description box below for you to quickly jump into whichever pile resonates with you. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, pile 1. If you chose the clear quartz, then this is the reading for you. And I need to say, as I was shuffling your cards and holding the intention of, what does pile 1 need to take action on, I started having a physical anxiety reaction. And what I was intuitively getting from that is the thing that you need to take action on, you know what it is. Based on what I'm about to tell you, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. I think that there was some sort of major trauma that you went through in your life that has left a huge scar on your life. And it is literally making you have this inability of taking action on something. Something that came to mind, and I'm not saying that this has to be you particularly, but this thing that's come to mind is the level of trauma, the level of anxiety I'm talking about here for you to get an idea of what I was feeling. And so trigger warning for miscarriage, if that's something that you might have gone through. But the thing that came to mind was, it's actually making me cry. I was gonna say it's making me want to cry, but it's actually making me cry. So sometimes when I get really tapped into people's emotions, I actually start feeling it, even though they're not my emotions. But I was imagining somebody who was pregnant and, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but she wanted this baby. She had carried it almost to the 3rd trimester, and she lost the child through a miscarriage of some sort. I don't know what the cause was, but she lost it. And I was imagining that being a mother was all that she wanted in her life. She had put so much time, energy, and emotion into the culmination of this thing, had pictured what her life would look like, and then it was ripped out from under her. And the disappointment, the guilt, the sadness that she was going through, she didn't want to have to go through that again. And so she's almost given up completely on trying again. It's how do you even try again? How do you try to let yourself hope again after what you've been through? It's literally you've put your hand to a hot stove, you've been burned, and then it's okay, let's go for round 2. It's no, I don't ever want to touch that stove again. And a stove doesn't even equate to the anguish and pain that that scenario could cause to a person. And yet, I feel, whatever your situation is, there is a desire within you to try again. Now, like I said, the pregnancy, miscarriage, that doesn't need to be your specific scenario. Another thing that had come to mind was somebody that deals with agoraphobia, which is essentially like, I'm not a doctor, so I might get it wrong, but it's like a fear of going outside or leaving your home. And not just a fear, but an actual like phobia, like something that paralyzes you, where you have panic attacks at the thought of leaving your safe space. Like that's the level of emotion and anxiety that I was feeling. And so I think for those of you that were drawn to pile 1, you are so deathly afraid to try again or start this thing because you have been burned before. It's kind of like, I might laugh because I kind of deal with like a level of contamination OCD, like a very, very low grade. I'm not going to say that it's something that paralyzes me in any way, but I have a thing about food that's been left out too long or something that's been in the fridge too long. Like I will not eat it. It absolutely won't do it. So that's kind of what contamination OCD is. But I imagine somebody who has contamination OCD and they're trying to push themselves out of their comfort zone. Like, I'm just going to eat the thing. I'm just going to eat it because I need to get over this. And then that first bite that they take is just like a mold. And sorry if that grosses you out, but it's almost funny in a way. It's like you hype yourself up so much and you go to try it and then you just get burned again. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly why I should be afraid. The reason I bring this up is because I think Spirit wants you to know that there's no guarantee that the next time will be better. And yeah, that sounds like, oh, well, shit, then why should I even try? Why even put myself out there if I don't have a guarantee that it's gonna work? There's no guarantee about anything in life, but there is guarantee about one thing. If you continue to not take action, you know what your life is gonna look like. If you continue to stay inside and never leave your house, and if that's what you've been doing, then your life is going to look like what it looks like right now. And I think if you were content with how your life is right now, if you were content with just never meeting up with friends ever again, never seeing family members when, you have a new baby cousin that's been born and just, staying home, never meeting them. If you were content with, staying inside, never feeling the sun on your face again, I would say, okay, fine. Then whatever, do your thing. Nobody's forcing you to go outside. But you and Spirit know that you are not happy with what your life is like right now. You have a greater desire to pursue, whatever this thing is that we're talking about. Like I said, I think it's going to be very different, very specific situations for all of you. But you know that there is a desire within you to try again. If we go with the pregnancy example, and you are that mother, you know that you want to be a mom. You know more than anything that you want to hold that baby in your arms. You want to raise that child. It's not even a want, it's a need. It is something that you have always wanted. And nothing is going to make the fact that you got burned okay. That's never gonna be okay. But you have to ask yourself, are you going to let that take away the joy of pursuing this thing that you know you're meant to pursue? Yes, it is horrible. It's traumatic. It has left scars on your heart. Nothing can fix that. Nothing but time. But are you going to let that take the joy of possibly being a mother away from you? With the agoraphobia example, yeah, it's scary. Yeah, things aren't always going to be perfect when you leave that house. Maybe you do get into a car accident. Maybe you do take a bite of something and there's a little bit of mold on it. But maybe it doesn't turn out as bad as your worst fears imagine it to be. Maybe you go out there and you do meet the love of your life. Maybe you go out there and you find that soul family, those best friends that you've been yearning for. Maybe you're able to take part in those hobbies that you've always wanted to do. Maybe you're able to go out there and make that dream life that you've always desired. But you're not able to do that if you never take action. And there's power in having that choice. You can choose to stay home, never make a decision, and just stay with how you are right now. Your life will not change. And like I said, if you're happy with your life as it is, then it's a no-brainer. Just stick with how it is right now. But very clearly, you're not happy with where you're at right now. You want to take action. You want to move forward. You want to heal. You want to move on. And so it's just a matter of you making that decision for yourself. And what I want to tell you is there's absolutely no rush. You are absolutely able to move at your own pace. If you have this sense of urgency that like it needs to happen tomorrow, everything needs to happen right now, it's only going to make things feel worse for you. In fact, sometimes feeling that sense of urgency that it needs to happen instantly can actually push us further away and make it harder for us to get up and go after that thing. So I haven't even gotten into your cards really. I've just kind of been telling you what I've been getting from when I was first shuffling, but something I'm seeing here, I'll start from the end and work back, but you have the Two of Cups here. And the first thing that this made me think of is you don't have to do this alone. I think that there's a lot of fear within you, but there's also a lot of shame about not wanting to be completely vulnerable with people around you about exactly what you're going through, or you feel like it might be a burden. You know, if we go with the agoraphobia example, like not wanting to leave the house, maybe you feel like you need to do it on your own. You need to be the one that drives yourself out of the house and opens the door for yourself and puts yourself in these new spaces. But Spirit is very clearly telling me that not only would it be helpful to have somebody else that you trust do these things with you, but that you need somebody to lean on. Nobody can take on this level of pain and fear and guilt and shame all by themselves. And I think maybe a part of you thinks that you're sparing people, like, oh, I don't want to make it their problem, this is my problem. Or you think that they might judge you. But very clearly I'm seeing in my mind's eye somebody, for some of you this could be a man, it could be a partner, maybe your husband or boyfriend, or it could be a brother or a father, or even just somebody with a more masculine energy. But specifically for a lot of you, I'm picturing a man for some reason. There is somebody in your life that you will be able to lean on. Something that just came to mind is like a therapist. Like maybe if you don't know where to start by, if you have the means to do so, get professional help. There are people that you can literally pay to be experts on exactly what you're feeling. Because I promise you, what you're feeling, you're not the first person in all of history to feel this way, to go through these things. Sometimes it can feel like it can feel so lonely, but I promise you, there are books upon books upon books written about the exact feelings that you are feeling and exactly how to overcome them. And it can feel really scary if you feel alone, if you feel like you've got to do all of this on your own. I think if this is an actual phobia that you're dealing with, you know, something like OCD or something like agoraphobia, like I said, I'm not going to say that you can't do it on your own, but it will be so much easier if you have the help of another person. I think specifically help from a professional of how do I overcome this step by step. That's going to be the most important thing here, is having somebody to lean on with this Two of Cups. But really it starts with being honest about what's going on with you, with somebody that you trust, of like, hey, I've been going through this for a while now. This is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm doing. I'm not doing good, but I want to do better. And have that person to lean on. I promise you it'll make your life so much easier to move forward with this other people. And more than that, you know, when I look at this Five of Cups reversed, I think having another person will be able to show you other perspectives or hold up mirrors to certain things. I think, especially with things like OCD, and keep in mind, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not an expert, so take everything with a grain of salt. But when I think of something like OCD, it's very easy for our minds to warp things or blow them out of proportion or tell us lies, tell us, like, if there's like a 0.0000001% chance of something happening, our brains will tell us it's absolutely going to happen. And it's just not accurate. It's just not true. And so having another person that can hold up this mirror and tell you, like, okay, you're overreacting, or they can tell you the actual facts of something, or they can help bring you back down to reality. They can help ground you. having another person, it's like, I don't know why I keep talking about like these mental health things, but another thing that came to mind is like schizophrenia. Like dealing with that on your own is next to impossible. You need somebody to help you keep on track with not just your med schedule, but, you know, bring you back down to earth and be like, hey, is this thing that I'm seeing or thinking accurate? And they're like, no, it's not. Or they can be like, yeah, I'm seeing the same thing that you are. You're not crazy. So the most important thing I'm getting here is no matter what your situation is, you don't have to take action on your own, and you don't have to take action right away. I think what you're needing is not a jump off the high dive into freezing cold water surrounded by sharks. It's, let's take some baby steps, let's acclimate ourselves, let's go into this slowly. There's no reason to rush. Whatever reason you feel, if there's like a sense of urgency within you, like if you take the pregnancy example, you know, maybe, let's say if you're like 30, there's a lot of women around 30 that think like, oh my God, all my eggs are dying, like I need to have a baby now or else it's never gonna happen. Yes, people want to have babies at younger ages, but there are women that are having babies in their 40s much more frequently than they used to. I mean, modern medicine has a lot of options, okay? So if you're worried, you know, especially with that specific scenario, like I said, talk to your doctor, get some options, but if you're just getting this sense of urgency from nowhere in these stories you're telling yourself, that's not helping anybody. It's certainly not helping you take action any faster anyways. So start with baby steps, get rid of the urgency mindset, and have somebody who is grounding that you trust alongside you. Whether it's somebody you know or a mental health professional, I think that is the best thing that you can do for yourself as like your starting block. It's like if you want to go into the Olympics, all of those people have coaches. It doesn't matter how fit they are, how ready they are, they still need that person to push them on, to give them that regimen, to make sure that they stick to things, and to, I don't know. I'm not really a sports person, so I actually don't know exactly what coaches are. But I know that you can't do something like that alone. Whatever you're going through, you're certainly not going to benefit by stonewalling and trying to figure out everything by yourself. I think also, more than anything, you need to give yourself grace, because I just get this sense that there's a lot of self-hate and belittling and a voice inside your head that is just nagging and you aren't good enough and you aren't going to be able to do this, or why aren't you taking action? You know, everybody around you is doing this thing, why can't you do it? That voice, we need to shut off. It's time to step more into an energy of, it's kind of hard to explain if you don't understand the difference between like masculine and feminine energy. I want you to take gender off the table, because that's not what I'm talking about. It's more of like a yin and a yang. Think of it as receptive versus more action. You know, it's just different words that humans use to categorize things, right? The feminine energy of feeling and receiving and being intuitive, I think you need to step out of that. And what we need to do is have concrete ideas, write things down, and have a list of, here's my movements, here's my starting point is point A, and here is my goal at Z. From A through Z, we are going to make different points of here's action 1 that needs to be taken. For some reason, I keep talking about pregnancy. So like, let's just start from the beginning. What's the first thing that we need to do? Well, let's have a plan of, you know, if you're dealing with infertility, we're going to meet with a doctor. So that's step B. Okay, before everything else, we're going to meet with a doctor. We're going to figure out our options. Step C is maybe getting, you know, on a specific diet. Maybe it's, you know, taking fertility medication, you know, whatever, alternative medication, whatever it is that you want to do. But what's important right now is to step away from this thinking and feeling and ruminating and obsessing and actually start with concrete steps. Because when your mind is your enemy, when your mind is talking down to, you're not just going to sit there and listen to your brain on repeat telling you the same terrible script that you've been telling yourself for the past couple months. Instead, let's follow something external. Let's follow something that has been laid out by a doctor or a mental health professional. Something from somebody else that you know has some sort of, a good reputation. Somebody that you can trust. And they hand you this plan and you say, okay, I don't know what to do, but I know how to follow a plan. I know how to make a doctor's appointment, and I'm going to listen to what that doctor tells me. And that's what we're going to do. If you're agoraphobic, maybe they're going to do some sort of exposure therapy, and step one is sitting on your porch, right? It's not going to a grocery store or going to, clubbing right away. It's sitting on your porch and just watching people pass by. And then the next step is going up to your fence, not opening it, but just standing on the edge and watching people walk along the sidewalk. Maybe the next step after that is walking down the sidewalk. Maybe when you see somebody else, you go to the other side to avoid them, but at least you're walking, you're moving. Those are the kind of baby steps that we need to be doing before you start going out to a club where people are spilling drinks on each other. Like, you might think that I can just figure it out on my own, but the time for that and strong arming has passed. What we need right now are baby steps, and we need somebody strong, somebody like I said, like a doctor, mental health care professional, a therapist, your partner, a support group who can be in your corner and help you figure things out step by step. And I truly believe in you. If I didn't see any chance of this working out or you living this life that you're yearning to live, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I see you being able to have that, but it starts with taking that action. I think for too long you've been ruminating in fear and shame and guilt and beating yourself up while simultaneously, while you're beating yourself up thinking that you can do everything by yourself, and you just can't. It's not a bad thing. Everybody needs help from time to time. And it's honestly the strongest people who are the most stubborn and don't want help from other people. It takes real strength to be vulnerable, to set down that rucksack and say, I need somebody else to help carry me this for a while. Carry this for me. I said that backwards. Anyways, I hope this reading found you when you needed the most. I hope that you can get the support that you need, and I hope that you can live the life that you're yearning to live. I know that you're able to. It's gonna be hard, but you start with baby steps, okay? 1 foot at a time. You can do this. I believe in you. So, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile 2. If you chose the yellow, I think this is calcite. I might have called it citrine. Honestly, don't really know. I'm not much of a crystal person, to be honest, but it's yellow. If you chose this one, then this is the reading for you. And the reading that I'm getting for you might be a little bit of a kick in the ass, but I think it's a bit of a wake-up call, because I think that you have a lot of potential that you don't really see in yourself, and you're letting your fears hold you back. And it's turning you into a person that you don't respect. And so this reading is going to be quite blunt, because I think that's the energy that your spirit guides want to give to you. If you're not ready to hear that, then you can put this on pause, but I think it's time. Your spirit guides want to kind of shake you awake and tell you, hey, it's time to get some responsibility, to take some action. The phrase I even heard was, it's time to grow up. And I feel like for some reason, you're in this phase of life where you've stunted your own growth. You've stunted your own movement. And I think, I wanted to say it's not entirely your fault, but at some point it does become your problem. It's like that saying, not by your hand, but in your lap. Essentially, you're not responsible for the family you were born into. Maybe they were shitty people. Maybe it was shitty circumstances. You're not responsible for that. But by the grace of God, or maybe that's the wrong saying, somehow it has fallen into your lap. That was the lot that you were given. That was the fate you were given. You can continue to kick the can down the road and say, woe is me, I'm just a victim of circumstance. Or you can buck up and you can say, yeah, things were shitty. That was a bad situation. But what I do next is up to me. And I think that you're in that phase of your life where I wouldn't even say that you want to give up. You want to just keep kicking the can down the road, because you don't really want that. You want better for yourself, but it's easier to sit and do nothing. It's easy to claim to be a victim of circumstance. But I see you're falling into you're almost falling into these crowds of people where you look around and you're like, how are you living like this? How are you not chasing your dreams? How are you not doing anything with, I think a part of you is like frustrated at the kind of people that you see around you, and yet you're one of them because you aren't taking action. And what I'm seeing here is I think you're kind of closing yourself off to potential options or opportunities, and I think things have not worked out for you in the past. There have been times where you did try, or times where you were optimistic, times where you did put yourself out there, and they didn't work out for one reason or another. It's going to be different scenarios for all of you, but I'm just seeing somebody who tried. Literally what I'm seeing in this Five of Cups is this guy with these 3 knocked over cups, but there's 2 behind him that are still upright. And what that tells me is, like, I'm imagining each of those cups represents a time that he tried something and it failed. He tried the first time, he was really excited, and it failed. And he was like, okay, well, maybe it was just a little bit wrong, maybe I'll try again, and that failed. And he's like, okay, I'm giving it one more try, and if it doesn't work out, then it's just not destined for me. And the 3rd time, it failed, and he gave up on himself altogether. He said, you know what? I'm just not meant for this. I am just not meant to succeed. I am not meant to make anything of myself. I am just going to sit here and continue to work in this Domino's. I'm not talking down to anybody that works in the service industry, but it's almost like you are somebody with such potential and you're keeping yourself in one spot because you've told yourself this story that this is all you can ever achieve. And maybe you didn't come from a wealthy family. You don't have the same resources as other people. But you have an able working body, for the most part. I can't speak for everybody, but let's just go on to the assumption that you have a fully functional body. There is so much potential for you to make something of yourself. And what I'm even seeing here is maybe it only took 2 more tries, and you would have seen success, but you gave up after the 3rd one because you were scared of rejection yet again, and you closed yourself off. When I look at the Hermit reversed, I see somebody who just completely gave up and just sat themselves down and never moved an inch. And to go back to that able-bodied thing, there's this story that I hear, that I think about all the time. If you don't know who Leo Skeppy is, he's a podcaster here on YouTube, and he used to be a nurse. And he told this story of this guy who was paraplegic. And what that means is he is essentially completely paralyzed from the neck down. Cannot move his arms, cannot move his legs, is literally bedridden. That guy, out of all of the people in the world, has every excuse to give up and call himself a victim of circumstance. But you know what he did? He asked Leo to put a pen in his mouth so that he could press on a keyboard and taught himself how to code so that he could provide for himself, get himself a job, go through those courses and learn how to code. Like, if that's not an example of not treating yourself as a victim and still pushing yourself to do more, I don't know what is. Like, if you're telling yourself it's impossible for you to succeed, I want you to sit down and think about that scenario for a moment. Think of how helpless somebody might feel in that scenario and still be able to wake up every morning and keep trying. You don't get to call yourself a victim. You don't get to tell yourself that something is impossible for you to do. And the reason I feel the need to talk to you in this way is not to beat you up. I take no pleasure in that. I think what your spirit guides want to do is continue to push you because you've stopped pushing yourself. And you have so much potential to, it's not just about making money and success. It's about living the life that you want to live and not giving up on yourself more than anything. More than success, more than money, more than chasing your passions, the most important thing is your belief in yourself, your love for yourself, and you have completely lost that. And now, I don't want to say it's completely gone. It's just that you've given up on it. You've chosen not to reach out, chosen to stop trying. It's you who is not taking action. Maybe those first few things didn't work out because they weren't meant for you, but I promise you there is something out there that you are meant to do. You have a purpose here on earth. And what I'm looking at with this Two of Pentacles is, it's this guy who's weighing his options. It's like, okay, I either continue to sit here and do nothing and distract myself with TikTok and vices and hanging out and partying and, doing whatever, living this, quote unquote comfortable life where you never have to try anything or put yourself out there or possibly face failure. And then you have this other option, which is the Eight of Wands. And it's a life of trial and error. It's a life that is tiring because you're working so hard, but it's a life that can possibly lead you to something better. Something that gives you a reason for living. Something that, there's nothing in life that feels better than succeeding at something that you have failed. Obviously, it hurts so badly when you fail 1, 2, 3, 4, however many times. It hurts. But the feeling you get, the confidence you get in yourself, the self-esteem that you build in yourself when you, after those failures, are able to succeed, you can't pay for that. And I think your spirit guides know the potential that you have to succeed in life, to make something of yourself. It's not even to make something of yourself, it's to be proud of yourself. I think deep down, if you asked yourself, am I proud of the person I am? The answer would be no. And that's heartbreaking, because it doesn't have to be like that. It's not like this is the end all be all, you're never going to move forward. You can change that. You can be somebody who you look at and you say, that person is worthy. That is somebody that deserves to be proud of themselves. That's somebody that other people would look at and respect. That's the kind of person that you are able to be. But you're scared of failure, and it's understandable. Nobody likes to fail. But do you like where you're at right now? Do you like how your life is right now? If the answer is yes, then stay here. Continue to live the life that you want. Nobody's going to force you to to live a life you don't want. But I think you're already living a life that you don't want. And so what's the other option? The other option is pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to build up to something that you can be proud of. A life that you can enjoy. A life that has meaning and purpose and lights your heart on fire. Versus kicking the can down the road, never pushing yourself, never trying hard, and it's not making you happy. More than anything, what your spirit guides want is for you to be happy, is to find happiness in this life that you're living, and that's missing. Nobody in life should not be proud of themselves. I think the worst way to live is feeling this, feeling like you're degrading yourself, or feeling like you're not proud of yourself, or you're not happy to live the life that you live, or feeling like you're not a respectable person. I promise you, you have so much potential, so much ability. But it's just about what action are you going to take next. You're going to continue to sit here and distract yourself with, partying, or the drugs, or the hanging out with the wrong crowd, or, scrolling and never sending out that resume, or applying to that college, or, moving across the country to take that job, or, traveling the world, whatever it is, pushing yourself to try that thing. And what I see here is, if you continue to live like this, you already know the feeling that you get in your chest. If you sat and really let yourself sink into that feeling, it's heartbreaking. That sinking feeling. That blackness, that pain, that hurt, that anger, that anguish. And knowing that if you sat there and felt those feelings for too long, like they would just consume you. And so no wonder you need to distract yourself, no wonder you need to go do all these things to not feel how you feel inside. But what if I told you there's a way that you can overcome those feelings without the drugs, without the distractions, without the pills and the sex and whatever it is that your vice is. There's a way to not only overcome that, but completely leave those feelings behind. It's confidence. It's self-esteem. It's self-respect. It's showing yourself that you can succeed after you try and try and try again. That is the only way that you truly build self-love, self-worth, self-confidence. It sounds tacky to say all those things, but that feeling you feel in your chest, you know what the opposite of that is? Self-love, self-confidence, self-esteem. Yeah, it sounds tacky. It sounds like, oh yeah, that's what I would see on a greeting card. That's what I would see in the self-help section. But I think it's time for you to get out of this pessimism, too cool for school kind of phase that you're in. It's time to face the music. It's time to face the fact that you're not happy with how your life is right now. And it's time to take action. You could be so much more than you are right now. And I don't say that out of a sense of, a sense of making other people feel proud of you. It's about how you feel. How do you feel about yourself? You deserve to be somebody that loves themselves, that celebrates themselves, and somebody that lives the life they want to live. I think right now, this current moment in time, you're not living the life that you want to live. And that's the most tragic thing about all this. You only have one life. You only have so much time. You only have so many seconds in a day. You only have so many days in a year. And you only have so many years of life. And that can sound a little scary when you say it like that, but every single one of those seconds could be a second that you enjoy. Every single one of those days could be a good day. And every single one of those years could be a good year of your life where you are happy and enjoying it, and you deserve to enjoy it. You are the only one that's holding you back from it. You might think that you're holding yourself back from pain, but at a certain point you gotta look around and be like, well, I'm already in pain, what could be worse than this right now? So, I think those are the real options that you need to weigh, and I see a lot of potential in you. I really do. I think that you are absolutely capable of achieving the life that you want to live, of being proud of yourself, and more than anything, getting rid of that feeling in your chest that tells you you're not good enough. That's the first thing that gots to go. So, pile 2, that's everything that I have for you. I know it's tough love. Not everybody's going to be ready to hear it, but I think what Spirit wants to give you is like a cold splash of water in the face. Like, it's time to wake up. Nobody's going to bring life to you on a silver platter, but you can reach out and take it. You can have it. You just got to reach out for it. So, pile 2, that's everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile 3, last but certainly not least. If you chose the green aragonite, then this is the reading for you. And what I'm getting from your reading is kind of like a short, simple thing. It's not going to take very long to explain it, but it's something that it's like that saying, it's simple, but it's not easy. Like, the answer to your question is very simple. It doesn't make the process of attaining that thing or accomplishing that thing easy. And I think that just perfectly sums up your situation. So I think for some of you, this could be about love. It could be about finding the partner that you want. But I think for a lot of you, this is about careers. More specifically, though, it's about achieving a specific task that you set out to achieve. I don't exactly know a better way to say that, but it's something that you've wanted and you just kind of given up hope that it's going to happen. And I think not only did you give up on hope, but you stopped reaching out for this thing. And this picture that kind of came to mind when I was getting your cards out and trying to read them was, I imagine somebody, when I look at this Eight of Wands, somebody who gets this sudden burst of energy and passion, with the King of Wands, and they put out 8 fish hooks, or, well, I guess I said 8 because of the wands, but somebody that's just throwing out so many hooks, so many lines into this pond, and it's like, it took all their energy just to throw those out there, hoping that one of them is going to have the thing that they want. And for some reason, I was imagining, there's $1 million on one of those lines, but you feel like you've waited so long that you just never fully reeled them back in. It took all that burst of energy just to put everything out there. Maybe it was with the YouTube sense. Maybe you've made hundreds and hundreds of videos, and then you just didn't have the steam within you. You didn't have the continual drive to push through it and wait for that moment that you finally got what you were waiting for. Or, in the love sense, maybe I'm imagining somebody who's I don't want to go on the dating apps. I literally have no energy for it. And then out of nowhere, you finally get this burst of energy and you send off 20 messages to the first 20 attractive people that you see on there. And it's you just put all of your energy into this one moment where you just pedal to the metal, worked really hard, put out everything. But then it's you didn't have that continuous energy that you needed. It's it was this roaring flame, and then it used up all the wood, and then the flame died out. And what you needed was to continue feeding that flame. You needed something that could last longer and, burn through the night, burn through as long as you needed to actually be able to grasp onto that thing. I know we're getting into the weeds of this analogy, but it's like the thing with YouTube. Like, they reward consistency. The person that posts once a day, every single day for like 3 years, that's the person that's going to get rewarded by the algorithm. Versus somebody that throws out like 30 videos at once and then never posts again, probably isn't going to see the kind of success that they're hoping for, right? Doesn't mean it works for everybody. I mean, speaking from experience here, but that's how the algorithm works. And I think whatever your specific scenario is, whether it's throwing your resume at like 30 different jobs and then you didn't get a bite right away, so you gave up. You didn't get an interview right away, so you gave up. What I'm seeing for you is because you've given up, it's almost like that meme. I don't know if you've seen this picture, but it's like the guy with the pickaxe that's mining or whatever, but he gives up right when the diamonds are like an inch away. Like, he just needed to keep going a little bit longer and then he would have reached it. Like, that's literally what I'm seeing for you. When I look at this 5 of Cups reversed, it's like these 3 cups that are knocked over are the things that failed, the videos that failed, or the number of tries or resumes that went unanswered, right? But right behind him are 2 more. Like, he could have thrown those other 2 out there and seen if they sticked, but he gave up after 3. And what I'm looking at here with this 4 of Cups is like these 3 empty cups right here, but then the universe is like, here's the winning cup. Like, I'm literally giving it to you. It's right here. But he's closed his eyes, he's crossed his arms, crossed his legs. He is not open to receiving because he's telling himself these stories about why it won't work. Why, putting out another one is a waste of time. Why trying to send his resume to another job is not going to work out. Or why posting one more video is not going to work out. Whatever your situation, I think that this reading is a clear sign that the universe is like, if you just keep going a little bit more, like, you're gonna be rewarded. You're gonna see the success that you want. Like, it's around the corner. It is coming. But they're not gonna give it to you if you've shown that you're so willing to give up. I think what the universe wants, like how the algorithm rewards consistency, what the universe wants is somebody that's committed. Somebody that's going to be consistent. Somebody that's not going to give up. Because the thing that you are meant to fulfill here on this earth, in this life, I like to think that the universe gives certain things to people that it knows are going to accomplish the goal that the universe has. It's like a weird way of phrasing it, but it's like they're going to give success to the person that fulfills the thing that they're meant to fulfill. If you have a purpose, you're meant to fulfill it. But if you're showing that you're not going to fulfill it, you're not going to try, they're going to move on to somebody else who will do the job. I hope that makes sense. That was a very poor way of saying it. I'm sure other people have said that idea way better than me. But I think the universe has kind of seen how you've quickly given up. And it's like, well, no wonder you didn't receive that thing. You were so willing to give up when you didn't see results right away. And the universe is like, well, those results were right around the corner, but it's you who stopped. It's you who gave up. The universe, if you can, zoom in on this 4 of Cups, literally is holding the thing out to him that he wants, but he is the one closing his eyes, not reaching out, keeping himself closed off because he's so scared of failing again. Or it's not scared, it's almost like he believes it's not going to work. More than that, he knows it's not going to work, even though that's completely inaccurate. He's told himself this story that it's not going to work, and because of that, he's not taking action. He doesn't even know that he's not right. He doesn't even know that the universe is literally trying to hand him the thing he wants on a silver platter. But because he is the smart one, he is smarter than whatever, smarter than the universe, he knows best, he's not trying anymore. Because he quote-unquote knows it's not going to work. You're telling yourself you know this isn't going to work out. You know that it's going to fail if you try. And so you aren't trying anymore. You've given up hope on it. I want to tell you, you don't know everything. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If I asked you, hey, what's going to happen tomorrow? Would you say, well, this and this and this and this and this are going to happen, and then that happens? I don't think that would happen. I don't think that you would be very accurate. You know why? Because you don't know the future. Even me as a tarot reader, I don't know the future. I can give you a really good approximation based on what's currently going on, but if I could tell you for certain if the Seahawks versus whoever were gonna win, I think I would be a billionaire by now, but clearly nobody knows the exact future. So if nobody else knows, if a tarot reader doesn't know, I don't think that you know either. So stop telling yourself this story about how you are going to fail. How do you know that? You can't read the future. I'm literally telling you right here, I'm seeing that there is a possibility of success for you right around the corner. But what it requires is consistency and commitment. And if you've shown that you're gonna give up when it gets tough or when you don't see success right away, why would the universe hand you the keys to the castle if you're gonna abandon it? You know, they want to entrust those keys to somebody that is going to be committed, somebody that's going to take care of that castle, somebody that's going to spruce it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, if I was a business owner and I was trying to find who my successor is going to be, and here comes this young entrepreneur, am I going to hand over this business to this person if they've shown that they're going to give up right away when they don't see success? Or am I going to give it to somebody who's shown that, you know, even if things fail 5 times, I'm going to get up that 6th time because I want to ensure the success of this business, because I want to ensure that the future of this business is profitable and successful. Then I would see that person and be like, hell yeah, I'm going to hand this thing over to you. Think about that the same way with the universe and what it wants to see come to fruition. The manifestations that you desire are given to you because the universe desires to see them fulfilled. And you are the vessel who is supposed to bring that thing to fulfillment. I think that's a little bit better of a way of trying to explain what I tried to explain earlier, but it's like the desires that you have originated within the universe. And they're given to you because you are the best possible vessel to bring it to fulfillment. But if you're showing that you're not a good vessel, that you're not going to put in the work, you're not going to stay committed, why would the universe entrust you with it? So if you want the castle, you got to be trusted with the keys. So show that you're committed, keep trying, get up a few more times, get up as many times as it takes. And I promise you, the thing that you're wanting, the success that you're desiring, you will get. Maybe it won't be in the exact way that you envisioned in your mind, but maybe it'll be better. And I promise you, you don't know the future, so stop acting like you know exactly how bad things are going to turn out. You don't even know how good they might turn out. So like I said, simple reading, but doesn't mean it's easy. It's not easy to get up a 6th time after you've been knocked out 5 times. It's not easy to send out your resume when you've been rejected 20 times. It's not easy to get up on that stage when you've been booed and had tomatoes thrown at you 20 times. But the person that wants to succeed, the person that wants to see their dreams fulfilled, has to keep getting up there, or else it's not going to happen. So, pile 3. That is everything that I have for you. I really wish you the best. I hope that you see your vision come to fruition. I hope that things succeed for you, but it requires you being an active participant, right? Right as I said that, I had 11:11 show up on my clock. That's never happened before, but, you know, maybe that's your number. You know, 1 is the number of manifestations and action. So it's time for you to take action. It's time for this new beginning. That might be your lucky number from now on. Whenever you see that, hear my voice telling you to get to work, okay? So, good luck on everything you do. I truly wish you the best. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.